Hello and welcome to Starting Points, where one thing leads to another. There's a few things that I've got this business I have to spend a minute or two on. First thing is, I want to change this picture. I try to leave it up for a couple of times, and it's been up for maybe 3 times. But use of trees, the cedar trees, were used to make totem poles and houses and boxes and pieces of bark were used to make even clothing, and jackets to protect one, robes, and another piece of old business is when looking at Edward Curtis in that book by Timothy Egan. I don't think I gave you the title of that book, because that's a really interesting book. It's called Short Nights of the Shadow Catcher. And I think I remembered that because what I wanted to show you dealt with long nights and short nights. The closer you get to the equator, you end up by having 12 hours of sun and 12 hours of no sun. It could still be lighter longer because the sun might not be showing, but it could be lighting up the sky. Whereas as you get further from the equator, closer to the Arctic, you'll get days where they call the days of the midnight sun, where the sun doesn't actually, here's the sun at this hour and this, slowly getting higher, slowly getting lower till it gets down to the horizon level and then back up. It never sets. So it's great for growing gardens in Alaska. They have some gardens that just produce this amazingly abundant or large vegetables because they get so much sunlight. It's got its flip side in that in the winter, there are days when the sun doesn't come above the horizon. Now there'll be some light when the maybe from about, say, there to there, a bunch of hours where there'll be a bit of lightness in the sky, and then it'll get down far enough that it'll be dark. So there's times when you can go out to hunt seal or whatever if you were a First Nations person of years ago. And maybe even today. So now the other thing is, I can't remember for sure. I know I showed you this book, and I don't see why I wouldn't have made some comment about these snow goggles. But where you live in a land with lots of snow, you have to be careful, especially when there's sunshine that's low in the horizon, hitting that snow and ricocheting off and creating what can cause snow blindness, which does cure in time, but I understand is very painful. So this invention discovered over time is, I'm not going to let much in, but I'll still be able to see. Okay? So I've got 3 maps I wanted to share with you. And this first one is really a curious one, because I'm going to stand up to hold it up so you can see it. It says Canada. And so I looked at it and I said, well, now, where is Canada? exactly. I couldn't figure it out. This should be, something's wrong here. And then I noticed region frigid. Oh, that's the cold part. Well, that should be in the north. So all the printing that's on here, whoever made it didn't sort of have us full awareness of what was north and south in terms of the country. So there's Florida. Ah, that makes sense. Maybe the Hudson River. Maybe that land around Nova Scotia, and you go into the St. Lawrence River and down the St. Lawrence River. Maybe something is Cape Breton and Newfoundland. I'm not sure at all, but interesting. Now, maps have come a considerable way. They aren't always as attractive, maybe, but they're maybe a little more accurate, and that was accurate in its own way. This map I've shown you before, the Arctic Ocean floor, and I think I showed you, if I turned it upside down, that I saw this head of some seal or something. There's its mouth coming up out of the water, out of the hole in the ice. But no, it's this way, and the continental shelf has allowed them, for instance, off of the coast of Alaska here, to discover oil deposits, which means, well, it may mean at one point there were trees and things like that, like coal deposits. Anyway, that map we've looked at and discussed a bit, and I think it's certainly a neat map, and what happens to the actual shape of Greenland if everything was melted. It would look considerably different than it does on the maps this day. Oh, and I just saw something here that almost looked like bones and skeletons of something. I don't know. The last map I want to show you is one that was published in 1990. They took over 2,000 photographs of the Earth from 520 miles up, satellites, and many photos, which they then were able to like fill in a rectangular jigsaw. It's not a circular round. How do you show all sides of the world on one map? Very difficult to do, I would think. Antarctica seems enormous, but it is where it is, south of these places. So there's some distortion in that regard. And up here I found something that caught my eye, and that was it. This is Greenland, and this is a Northwest Passage. You could get through this on this particular time of the year in the summer, that it has melted enough that now water shows all the way across. And, well, maybe there might be a little hitch right here, but it appears as though you could navigate a your way across, which says something about the loss of snow cover. The loss of snow cover that's been happening. This is 1990, so I'm assuming it's even worse now. Well, thanks for joining me. Until next time, when we're going to look some more at some of the great stories and things that come out of the far north. Bye for now.